about today is why entrepreneurs and small business owners hire me. And it's basically to train them how to leverage the art and science of words using personality science so you can close sales faster. How many people here would like to close more sales? How many people would like to learn how to really identify the needs quickly of the person who is a prospective customer? How many people here would then like to know how to speak into their listening so they can hear you when you talk to them about how you can solve their problem? That becomes really important. So I'm going to talk to you today about the sales conversation, and we're going to talk about how your speaking and how your marketing copy all begin with a thought. So mindset is something I am going to talk about because I want to ask you a question. Who is the first person who hears what you say when you speak? Yourself. So don't you think, Anthony, it's really important to say something you want to hear?
Yes.
So I ask you, and please don't answer out loud, how many of you would fire yourself if you were able to hear how you talk to yourself? So one of the things we're going to talk about today is how you can actually learn to think differently to create different outcomes that you want for your life. I know you do personality science, so I'm sure you've heard this before. It's very important to begin the sales conversation in your own head. So is it all right if I tell you just a little bit about my story? No? You don't want to? Okay. Just want to make sure. So you can see on the screen, those are two of my 3 grandchildren. They are a big part of my why also. I have 4 children. 2 who are biological, 1 who was adopted and 1 who adopted us. We, seriously. And what I have found is that having them watch everything that I do is so much more important than what I say. So it's very important to me that my walk aligns with my talk because they're watching, my colleagues are watching, everybody's watching. And what happened is, does everybody know where they were at 9/11? My husband is a pilot for American Airlines. So obviously we did not lose our lives on 9/11, but we did lose our livelihood. So that day, we took a 50% pay cut. Now we are very blessed that we did not lose our lives, but our lives changed forever from that day going forward. So even though I had the privilege of being a stay-at-home mom running my own consulting company based around the values of my family, our income was dramatically cut. The company ultimately went bankrupt, and we had to decide what we were going to do with our future. So I went back to school, got my master's degree, became a professor, and during that time I continued with my consulting business where I've been a coach since 1994. And I have found that I really enjoy helping people to create even more success in their lives. And at the university, I had the privilege of teaching critical thinking through writing. Kind of boring for most people, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I also taught speech. So what I found in the business community was many people did not know how to leverage both the art and science of words, stumble on their words, feel uncomfortable speaking out loud, always pointing to the person beside them to have that conversation. Yet in business, if you want to be successful, would you agree you need to be able to communicate clearly?
Yes.
Does anyone here have written marketing copy, websites, emails, print materials? Raise your hand. If you didn't raise your hand, does that literally mean you have no written marketing copy? Because if not, I really want to talk to you today. It becomes very important then that the conversation that you're having in writing is actually speaking to your ideal client. So one of the fun things that I like to offer in my private coaching package is to do written copy analysis. And this is where you leverage my degree in teaching at the university. I look at your marketing copy. We can simplify the language. We can make sure that your brand message is actually communicating what you want it to. So many times, people start talking, and it's like speaking a different language. You don't necessarily hear what they're saying. My Spanish is 20 years old, but I can understand it. Well, just imagine if your marketing copy and your emails and your text messages do not clearly communicate your message, then you're automatically going to lose the sale. And for someone like me, I like to analyze writing, so I can tell you what your bog content is, how many extra words you have. I look at pronouns. I do all the stuff that most people are like, no way. It's just not fun. But it's amazing how when you can analyze your copy and take out all the unnecessary stuff, people are able to hear you. Can I tell you one real quick story? So my husband is a former Navy fighter pilot, right? Top Gun pilot. He's really into some of these new movies that are out that are all about the testosterone. He invited me to go the other night, and I politely declined. He went with my sons, and he comes back and he's all excited about the movie. So it's all about men. So the pronoun is he. There are 6 men main characters in this film. You already know where I'm going with this. So he starts telling me, well, he did this, and he did that, and he did this, and then he did that, and then he did this. And that's what I was doing. Like, I don't know which he's talking about, but he's really excited. Because pronouns really are important in your copy so that people can clearly understand who and what you're talking about. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is how to simplify your language and speak clearly, both in your writing and in your speaking. Would that be okay? Sure. Awesome. So I always begin with awareness, because our subconscious mind is so much more powerful than our conscious mind. And in actuality, 90% of everything that transpires takes place in our subconscious mind first, and then it manifests itself in our actual daily living. So I like to talk about the 3 levels of awareness. It's what you know, what you don't know, but the area of awareness that I really want you to consider is the area called what you don't know that you don't know. Because this is the area where blind spots exist. And these blind spots often lead to what I like to call sales blind spots. Because if you're communicating ineffectively, if your marketing copy doesn't actually speak to your brand message, Warren, then you know that you're not being effective in clearly communicating what it is you have to say. The other area that I like to talk about in blind spots is where we self-sabotage, that head trash, that monkey mind. So when I asked you who's the first person who hears what you say when you speak, and you said, I do, then you want to say something that you want to hear both subconsciously and consciously, because what you say when you talk to yourself is really going to determine every other step forward in the sales conversation. Does that make sense? Good. So everybody loves this slide because we're all business owners and entrepreneurs, right? If you're not an entrepreneur or business owner, raise your hand. That always gets a better response because it's everybody in the room. These are the top 10 job skills that are going to be required in 2020. This is from the World Economic Forum, and they identify the top 10 skills for 2020 that were not present in 2015. And what you'll notice is it is number 10 is cognitive flexibility, and then it is number 6, which is emotional intelligence. If you notice, these are all behavioral related skills. These have actually nothing to do with numbers, but with people. So in So the kind of results that you're going to get when you learn how to speak clearly, write effortlessly, and think critically is you will be able to be a powerful communicator. You will accelerate the speed of trust, because when you are actually talking to somebody and they feel that you're listening to them, that you're hearing them, then you make that connection, and that connection in business is so much more powerful than what the numbers can do. What's the saying? You buy from people you know, like, and trust. Say that again. We buy from people that we know, like, and trust. Exactly. And when you're able to communicate effectively and listen to the person who's in front of you, identify their needs, and understand what kind of a solution you provide for them, then you're going to be able to accelerate the speed of trust. And that's where you build relationship capital and financial capital. Has anybody heard this before? That your relationships are really the key to your financial success? Exactly. You also build influence. So I'm here to talk about sales. Is anybody here ever gone on a date, is married, or has children? Raise your hand. Then you're in sales. Anybody here have children? Anybody tried to get a toddler to clean up their room? You're in sales. Anybody have teenagers or were a teenager and asked parents for the keys to the car? You are in sales. So sales is really that conversation that is about influencing decision-making behavior. So anytime you are trying to influence any type of decision, please consider that sales and stop looking at it as a transaction only always for money. It is so much more than that. And when you're able to become comfortable with the sales conversation and the business influencing conversation, you become so much more comfortable in the solution that you have for someone's problem. The other one is confidence. There are so many times that people want to actually record me when we role play, and they say, you say it so beautifully. It's really not always what you say, but how you say it. And that the way that you say it really influences your confidence. So I raised my family on this question. And at the university, we call an argument an intellectual debate. So it's not a conflict kind of argument. It's really a stimulating debate where you can use evidence to support a point of view. What's more important? By a show of hands, is it what you say or how it was interpreted? So who says it's what you say? Who says it's how it was interpreted? Okay, today I'm going to ask you to engage in a paradigm shift. It's actually both. It's both, so it's an and. So we're going to go through that in just a minute. And oftentimes it's posture in how you present the information that you're presenting. So I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about how to leverage personality science. And this goes back to that question of what's more important, what was said or how it was interpreted. And I'm going to prove to you that it's both. So how many of you have ever heard that you have to get more no's to get more yeses? Just raise your hands high, seriously. Have you ever heard you have to get more no's to get more yeses because it's a numbers game? What's your name? Alejandra? Do you want more no's when you go to give a sales presentation? Do you really want that person to say no to you? No, you don't. Lawrence, do you want the person that you're offering your service to really say, no, I don't want this? No. Roberto? Warren? Pat? Do you want people to say no? So this is a myth. You can call it hooey or you can call it crap that we have bought into that is inaccurate. What we really want are more yeses. So how you leverage the art and science of words using personality science can help you get to yes faster. Do you want prospective clients to say yes to you when you give a presentation? Absolutely. So it's not a numbers game, it's a people game. And Brian Tracy is famous for saying that. Yes, I'm getting head nods. I love head nods. I love questions. I love engagement. If you really want to make me feel good, please smile at me. It makes me feel like you're listening to me. So all personality science originated with Hippocrates, who is the father of modern medicine. Who here has ever done like a Myers-Briggs, a talent dynamics, DISC, bank, any of these personality assessments, all of them? Why do we take them?
Why do we what?
Why do we take these assessments, these personality assessments? Because they're proven, and they're proven to do what?
Be successful.
To help you be even more successful.
Figure out how we show up in the world.
To figure out how we show up in the world. Find religion.
Validity.
Validity. Okay, religion, validity. Okay, I'll go for that. So if I were to take a selfie with Anthony and then show him the camera, who's he going to look at? Mm-hmm. Because we're all tuned into a radio station called WIIFM, What's in It for Me. Personality science is the same thing. We want to learn more about ourselves, to understand ourselves, to validate our behavior, to understand someone else. So when you do that, you're actually able to learn more about yourself. The system I'm going to share with you today allows you to understand the person who's in front of you. Would you like to know with 100% accuracy what the buying behavior is of your prospective client? That's what this system does, and it's validated by Dr. Ryan T. Howell at San Francisco State University, who shares that when you use this system, with 100% accuracy, you can understand the buying behavior of your prospective client. My unique twist on this that I've learned after working with thousands of people is that it also tells you what your buying behavior is. And when you know what your buying behavior is, you're going to tend to sell to other people in that buying behavior. So if your personality type is this, and your client's personality type is maybe the opposite, do you make the sale? Probably not. There are triggers and tripwires during the sales conversation. And when you can learn how to avoid the tripwires and to use the triggers, you can be more successful. And I'd like to offer you a free gift. And it's a free personality science assessment. It's the one that I use. And it will send a customized, detailed report to you about your buying behavior. And then it will tell you what your selling behavior is also. So if you want to text CONNECT to 610-400-8917, awesome. If you want to pull out your phones, I can show you the coolest thing in the world done by Ray Perez from Amp Your Brand. And you go to Dawn More 360. You'll see it just about everywhere. Dawn More 360. Pull out your phone. Go there. You don't want to play? What's his name? Joshua's going to hurt my feelings. So go to dawnmore360.com. Pull out your phones. And you'll see the contact button. On the contact button, hit text me. You see contact, Pat? Dawn More 360. Warren will help you. It says contact. You hit text me, and you put in connect, which is the keyword. My watch is going off, so some of you are actually doing this for me. I hear buzzers and bells going off. You type in the keyword connect, and it will connect us. So I often get asked for business cards. I use a text opt-in messaging system now. I don't hand out business cards. This is the system I was telling you about earlier. And it is an invitation to you to go to my website and complete your free personality assessment. And then what I like to do is I like to help people align their goals with their values. So many times, I've been a coach since 1994, people set goals that are in alignment with their brother-in-law, sister's, father's, mother's personality type. And then they wonder why they don't reach their goals. Because if you're a structured person and you try to set a goal based on an action type person's personality type, the chances are you're not going to achieve your goal. So during our consultation that's complimentary, I'll share that with you. And Pat, if it's not working, okay, it is. Warren said it is. Perfect. So then I'll continue. So Tony Robbins said, let your prospect determine your presentation. And when you start to use personality science in all of the sales conversation, you can attract more business because you're going to listen differently. You're going to start using this tool in all and through all that you do. So I like to show this graph. This is by Dr. Albert Morabian, and he shows that up to 93% of all communication is nonverbal. So here I'm talking to you about the power of words, and I'm telling you it's only 7% of all communication. However, that 7% of the words that you choose can really impact the sales conversation. And part of the sales conversation begins with observing. For example, I look at the way people are dressed, especially the eyewear that they choose, the kind of dresses, the kind of outfit, hair, cosmetics, casualness, because they're clues into the personality type of the person who's in front of me. So I do what's called speed coding. I can oftentimes have a conversation with someone, choose my questions and my words very carefully based upon how I think that person is for a personality type. And then I'll use some open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are one of the biggest secrets to closing sales faster. I'm getting an emphatic head nod in the back because the type of questions that you ask are going to help you determine what that person's needs are quicker. It's also going to help you understand what their buying style is so that when you go to make your offer, you know exactly how to present it to them. How many of you actually enjoy sales? Great. How many of you believe you have a product or service that brings value to the marketplace? If you don't offer that product or service to a person who has a need for it, are you doing them a service or a disservice? You're doing them a disservice. You're leaving them in a state of pain. And if you don't offer it, you leave, they're still in pain, and you don't make a sale. It's not a good combination. So it's very important to understand your selling style and their buying style so that you can line them up. Does that make sense? Perfect. So I'm going to share with you quickly, because this is like my favorite part of the program, but we're actually doing a live training here in Miami on the 17th and 18th of March. We're going to do 2 days of this training, explaining personality science. And then the second day, we customize the training based on your product, service, or offer, and how to close it in all 4 of the personality styles. And it's really very fun because what happens is we put people in the front of the room and then we basically say, sell me this pen. And almost always they revert back to their dominant selling behavior. So the people in the back of the room are encouraging them what to say. Your code is showing, helping them to step outside of themselves into the other person's code so they can close more sales faster. So the blueprints, these are the ones who really see the world in a very structured way. These are the ones who think if you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, that's just completely unacceptable. So who here has a 9 o'clock meeting and likes to show up at 9:45? How about 8:30? What happens with this blueprint type of individual is if you show up for a 9 o'clock meeting at 8:30 and you get there before them, they start apologizing. They think they're late because they're so accustomed to getting there before you do that they believe that they're now obligated to do business with you. Because they're late, they want to do business with you because you showed up before them. This is also the personality type where don't hand them any type of contract or anything with a coffee cup stain on it or a damaged edge. They're very much into everything being exact, and I mean exact. They like everything just so, don't they, Pat? A step-by-step, organized. They love Google Drive once they learn how to do Google Drive. So just a very understanding of a process-oriented person. The next one is the action type. These are the ones who love VIP treatment. They love luxury. They're the ones that are ideal for the black card. You can come up in front, really. There are chairs up here. Walk around the table. It's fine, really. We're just going to make you identify yourself and give us the birth certificate to your firstborn. Or oh, darn. So your action type people, if you really want to impress them and do business with them, you get VIP treatment. You pick a nice restaurant, you valet park, you will already talk to the maitre d' and given your credit card, so in that awkward moment when the bill comes, they don't have to even think about it. You say, that's okay, I already took care of it. This personality type responds very well to that kind of treatment. The nurturers, these are the huggers. These are the people where if I had spilled Anthony's coffee, they would have been, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What can I do to make this better for you? They're the huggers. If they're not standing still, they're hugging them. They're the ones who are very caring about relationships and causes. Who in here has a charity or cause that you support? Raise your hand. A few of you. If you don't, I highly recommend that you do, especially if you're doing business with millennials. Millennials are very much involved with cause-based marketing and charities. I support Teen Challenge. I support business women networking involving charity and education. Whatever cause that you support, make sure and let your clients and customers know, because if they're a nurturing type person, this is going to be very important to them. They are also very much into relationships. They're always going to put the relationship before the rule. Whereas the blueprints, they're always going to put the rule before the relationship. So answer this question. Rules are meant to be followed. I happen to know Pat Rogers, a dear friend of mine. She is what we call classic blueprints, and rules are meant to be followed. Yet, Anthony, I have a feeling with you, rules are meant to be broken. Yeah. And my biggest clue to that was his glasses. You know, the white glasses, those are kind of like, I am me. You know, I stand out from a crowd. And that's something that an action type person would wear. So you notice these clues as you're going through, and then you can kind of have these kind of conversations a little bit better.
I personally feel like I fit in all categories.
That is such a good point. I brought that up because you do. But when it comes to decision-making behavior, we all have a dominant style, and you're going to revert back to it. So if you're feeling pressure during the sales conversation, you may find that you're going to revert back to your dominant code. So when you learn how to use this in all and through all you do, you become unconsciously competent, and you'll immediately back away. I do not talk to Pat the same way that I'm going to talk to Roberto or Warren, or as I get to know many of you. You become so much more important because I can change my words depending on what you hear. So it's not a kind of manipulation, although I have heard that. It's really being respectful of another person's personality type. So okay, let me go to the last one, which is the high knowledge person. These are the experts in everything who really value accuracy. Growing up, they were often called the know-it-alls. Usually they love technology. A clue for them when they're talking is they talk like this. It's always about the big picture, always about the big picture. Whereas the blueprints get really stuck in the details. And the action people are like, we'll figure it out as we go. So you see, each of you has a different personality type. So if I was going to talk to you, and I started talking like a really high K person, all about the expertise and the proven system and the scientific this and the scientific that, this young lady who's laughing about being an action, she's going to tune me out. She's going to get that glazed donut look. She's gone. So when you're having that sales conversation, it becomes really important to decide, are you more important or is the person in front of you? And if you decide it's the person in front of you, then you're the one who has control over the language that you use and whether or not you make the decision to speak into their listening instead of your own. Does this make sense? Does anybody have any questions? Because we're going to do a 2-day training on that here in Miami on the 17th and 18th of March. Ludovine is outside, or will be, at the end of this presentation, and she will give you more information about that, should this be a training that you want. I also offer private coaching. My private coaching is $3,000 for 90 days. I like 90 days because I think anybody can work hard for 90 days. And in my private coaching, you get to role play with me. You get to leverage everything that I have to offer you for more than 30 years in business and industry. Plus, we look at your marketing copy, and we look at your text messages, and we look at your emails to make sure that everything is the brand message that you clearly want to communicate. So just to end this aspect on personality science, because I could train on this for days. This is so much fun in a live training environment. But which personality code is the greeting on the screen? The traditional double thumb bump. The blueprint, the structured one. Very good, Joshua. How about the free hug? Nurturing, very good. How about Spock? High knowledge, very good. All right. Action, action, very good. Now here's one that usually stumps people a little bit. Who likes to hand out a business card with no physical contact whatsoever? You only have a 1 out of 4 chance.
Blue?
Blue is a good guess. It's actually the knowledge person. Most of the time, your high knowledge people would like to avoid any type of physical contact. If they're super high K, they're the ones at networking events that stand in the back of the room and they kind of assess everybody. And then they'll engage with the people that they feel a connection with. I will say on their behalf, though, high Ks are some of the most loyal people on the planet once you have developed a relationship with them. They are super, super loyal. The reason I tell you this with regard to business is because of the levels of competency. I'm a master trainer in this. I can switch, depending on what your personality type is, to have this conversation with you. It's in all and through all I do. And the testimonials that I get from my clients, even though they close sales faster and make more money, almost always the testimonial begins with how much it has helped a key relationship in their life. Because when you learn this, you understand sometimes where conflict comes in. You understand why some people don't want to be the public speaker. They much prefer it if it's somebody else. But if you begin to recognize this about yourself, there are key words that you can use to kind of put you in your comfort zone so that it becomes less stressful when you have to communicate with other people. It's very easy to become like not visible when you're having someone else's best interests at heart. So if you have a problem or a need and I can solve it for you, it's all about you. And that's where it becomes really important. So if you don't like to speak or you don't like to ask for the sale, say this with me. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the person that you're serving. And when you change your attitude to understand that you're in business to solve a problem for someone and you understand who's in front of you, you can close that sale, but more importantly, you're helping someone. You're solving a problem for them. You're helping them to make more money. You're showing them that your expertise is of value to them. So I'm just going to go over this quickly. I believe, and you may feel differently, but I believe the sales conversation begins with hello. Whether that's your email, whether that's a phone call, or however you do it, but it's a series of mini scripts based on what you say, from lead generation to appointment setting, to building trust and rapport, to identifying the client need, to the presentation that you actually give, to how you offer your product or service in the close, to how you manage any objections that they might have. And here is where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people start to revert back to their own selling style. Here's where personality science is so key, because many people 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 is so key, Because many people's is so key. 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 Because 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 is so key. Is so key. Is so key. Is so key.